Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. Happy Sunday. It is December 13th, 2020, and we are right in the middle of a powerful energy thing. You'll see the 1212 Lionsgate thing, and I think there's something astrologically happening tomorrow. But apparently, according to all these different things, this is a prime time for manifesting. So if you're manifesting, put your powers into manifesting right now. Journal, script, whatever you do. I hope everybody is well. As always, I'm not a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist, a financial advisor. So if you need one of those, seek those. I think I got all four of them that I usually say. And as in accordance with the law, this is for the inner purposes of entertainment only. For anybody who wonders why we say that and is it fake, I'm a reverend in the Spiritualist Church. So technically under the auspices of me being a reverend, this is a part of my religion. This is a part of our practice. So I don't have to claim it. However, I do because CYA. There's fortune telling laws in some states, New York being one of them. So I hope everybody is well. If you're in the line of the snowstorm that's coming, and we're supposed to get hit with maybe my area, potentially 12 to 18 inches of snow. Super excited about that. I made sure I got my youngest daughter her snow pants because I put on the one size on her because when you have three girls, you just pass everything down. And I put on the one pair, and she was, because we got some snow last week. She was like, "Oh, it's tight." She's almost 4. So I said, "Okay, I'll get you another pair." And she's like, each one of my kids has a different favorite color, and she really likes purple. So I had to drive a little distance to get her some purple snow pants. Because by the time you're the third kid, I was the third kid. You get all the dregs of everybody's stuff. All right, so I have Cindy up first with 2 questions, then Starry Sky with 2 questions, then Tiffany with 2 questions, and Emily with 2 questions, and Allie with 2 questions. And Dan, you didn't have any questions tonight. Spiritually Out of the Closet, you guys should check him out. He's a huge supporter, so I'd like to support him in return. And he's got some great stuff on there. His channel, he's got like a great amount of numbers already, so you should check him out. Spiritually Out of the Closet. It's Spiritually OTC. Hi, Sonia. Okay, I'll look for it in just a minute. You'll be a little bit down the list, so I'll go and check in a minute. And Regine, you said such kind words. Thank you so much. And Devry too. Just like always has a sweet little note with her payment. So thank you. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Just hearing that stuff, because letting me know that I'm impacting y'all in a positive way. Then it means that I'm following my intuition and doing what I need to do, even when it was really hard to ask for donations instead of just doing it free and getting threats from people that I was going to lose numbers. And I have, but that's okay, because as long as I'm still helping some people, then I'm happy. Okay. Cindy says, regarding the community service organization I'm interested in, there are 2 chapters at Brooklyn and Elizabeth. Which one is the direction for me? I really do keep getting pulled towards Elizabeth. Do you have a tickle in your nose right now? Like an allergy? I don't know why I just felt like I was going to sneeze. Not mine. I haven't had any sneezes today. So Sonia, I've been doing since Thanksgiving, basically 100% to charity. Normally I just do 30%, but I've been doing since Thanksgiving just because it's, I think it's a really particularly hard year. And so it's been going to the food bank of the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, which is a part of, I think it's Feed America, but it's in my area. And I've seen the lines for picking up food, and it breaks my heart that so many people are in need right now. So you do have a cold. Okay. So then I that validates the Elizabeth thing for me. Yeah, I'm feeling really, really drawn to Elizabeth for that one. Though I think somehow that the 2 will work together at a point, but I really do feel Elizabeth. Um, I feel April, May. So maybe they start asking for, um or maybe they start collecting the what do you call them? Oh, Christ almighty. Applications, that would be the word I'm looking for. Um, I've been a little sleepy all day. I've been getting these weird migraines, and it's because my muscles are so tight. So I finally went to the chiropractor on Friday, but like, and it like instant difference, but it's still like a little tight. So I've just been like kind of nursing. I don't know if any of you ever get, well, a lot of you get migraines, I think. They suck, but it's not the kind that makes me really like have really a lot of pain. It's just I go blind. I can't see anything. And I'm super light sensitive. So it's awesome. Rockstar wife, give me a moment and I will confirm everything. Okay. So, yeah, I'm feeling, Elizabeth, and I felt April, May for, applications. And I feel a lot of that has to do with, the vaccine and majority of people getting vaccinated and not having to worry as much. Feeling like easy to breathe. Do you have another question, Cindy? Starry Sky, Tiffany, Emily. Okay, so let me see. I'll check my PayPal while I'm waiting for questions. Okay, after Keisha, I've got Lauren Davis, then Sonia, and I'm guessing Rockstar Rife is the productions one. It's a cute way to say coleslaw. Let me see if you just typed your in the note at all. Nope. So I'm going to just assume, as we do. Yes, coleslaw productions. Okay. I feel like February will be the transition time. I actually feel like February is going to be a really big month. A lot of changes for you. Around the big man, I'll just put it that way. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of changes happening around February for you. Now, this is interesting because I actually keep feeling like they may offer you an opportunity to get the vaccine early because of E. So for some reason, and I know it's like not in the list of the lineups, but I feel like you might be offered an opportunity to get the vaccine early because of him coming home. So I'll leave that with you. Starry Sky, you're up. Tiffany Grant, Emily M, Allie. Your mom is Marjorie. My mother-in-law is Marjorie. I can't say this because it would be a ding in a direction I can't, but it's not towards you. But your mom has a pretty good sense of humor. Like she was good with the zingers, and she was a pretty good cook. She says it's no world class, but it was pretty good. Did she play like, I don't know what canasta is, but I heard canasta, but I'm also feeling like liked card games or dice or something like that. Like I liked, um, like she liked to have a good time. I don't feel like she liked to get together and socialize. I don't feel like heavy drinker, but she liked to have a drink here and there. Hi, Eva. Yeah. She also said, "You always worry too much. Stop worrying. It'll all work out." Feels like the weight of the world on your shoulders. But I feel like she would have always said, it'll all work out. It'll work out." Like I always say, the universe always has your back. Always. I can't tell if this is her or you. So I heard she's breathing slower, breathing funny. Was she breathing funny at the end? Because I don't know if this is you or if she's talking about you needing, like, then I'm like feeling you and it feels like I'm holding my breath. It's just weird because it's like kind of intermixing. I feel like she was kind of into getting readings and like spiritual stuff because she's really very clear, and easy, comes through very easily. And you've heard me say this before, that whenever they come through easily this way and pretty clear, they were pretty spiritual in life. Um, she loves to you're welcome, Cindy. She likes to ruffle feathers. She feels like she likes to ruffle feathers. And I don't know if at the end she did something kind of like where she would have rubbed your hand or done something like this. It's the feeling I get at this. My very first job ever was at a nursing home. Not babysitting, but like my first where you have, to pay taxes and stuff. Um, and I worked in the kitchen, but I would go up and serve. Like it was, they had an assisted living, then they had like a full on nursing home, and then they had an area where it was like senior living, but they could order food if they wanted to. But there was this woman, I can remember her face, like I can't remember her name anymore, but I just remember her face, and I would always grab her because she would wander. She had dementia. I'm not sure if it was Alzheimer's or a different form, but she had dementia, and she would walk a pattern, and that's pretty common for people with dementia. But I'd always take her in the room with me when I would clean up because I felt bad. I didn't want her to be alone. But she would always like lightly touch things. She might touch my shirt, lightly touch my shirt. And that's the way I feel like your mom was doing stuff like that at the end. She's just showing me with her hands, like kind of doing this, like lightly touching, lightly rubbing it between her fingers. She also have something going on with her stomach at the end. Something with her stomach or touching with her fingers. Because I feel like I had this pain and I didn't really fully understand what was going on. And it's also that feeling up and something up here too. Um, it feels like it would have been like on the left half of my face. So maybe she had a stroke. Both stomach and the hand thing. Okay. It just feels like all of the decisions you made, everything that had to be done was done perfectly. You didn't make any mistakes. You did everything perfectly. You were very hard on yourself. You're always very hard on yourself. I don't know if you have other sisters or anything, but it just feels like you were the best daughter I could have had. Like, she couldn't have picked better. So, like, sort of relax on that. You think she had a stroke. That's what I feel. Like, it just feels like on this, like, I don't know, just I felt like a headache here, and then I just felt like kind of heavy on my face. This is my left side. I know sometimes things get mirrored or whatever. Well, some dementia patients, I had one who told me he wanted to break my arm off once. It scared the shit out of me. That was in college. I worked at an Alzheimer's care facility. He chased me around. I was only there for like 3 weeks because they didn't like, even when I filled out an incident report, like they didn't even address it. And I was like, yeah, I can't work somewhere that doesn't even address the fact that I'm concerned about my safety. Yeah, he told me he was gonna rip my arm off. I was like, no. And like he was a strong man. Anyway. I just feel like sorry that you needed to know. Is there anything you wanted to know particularly? It's just that feeling like she's okay, she's doing fine, you did good. There was a lot of really good validations, a lot of evidence. And it's that feeling she goes, I'm free. She's free of all of those constraints. I also had a lot of really good experiences too, though. Like the woman who I was talking about, like she never connected with anybody. And she looked at me one day and she like went to my belly. I was 16 years old and she goes right in my belly. Like she was walking around and we played the piano together and she's just, like pushing the keys. And then nurses are like, when are you going to be a nurse? And at the time I was like, oh, I don't think I am. And then I ended up being a nurse and now I'm not, but no equals no. That's exactly what you needed to know. You're very welcome. And thank you to Miss Marjorie for being so clear. Did she really like flowery shirts? Because she just maybe showed me her in a flowery shirt, flowery pattern. Okay, so Tiffany says you were spot on 2 weeks ago about my husband having a low sperm count. Yeah. Okay, contributing to our issues with trying to conceive. That was confirmed. So that means he's going to get on his pill that he has to take and baby making happens. That's so exciting. I'm guessing that's what he needs to take. Western. I got that right away, Western. And I literally feel like it'll be like pretty quickly it'll happen. Like I literally felt like one pill. And so it doesn't feel like he needs a lot to kickstart it. It just feels like, and there you go. I'm really excited for you too. Parenting is one of the hardest things, not harder than marriage, but it's worth it. It really is. Like you're going to be more tired than you could ever imagine in your entire life and still somehow find energy to do stuff. It's and my kids are so, I mean, they're so different. Their pregnancies were so different. Their deliveries were so different. But and they're just their own little path and the way they are so different, but they're like great and I adore them. Yes, for twins. But I gotta tell you, I think there might end up being 3. So I don't know if it's twins first or single and then twins. I'm really excited for you. And thanks for the validation too. I always like love finding that out. So I'm going to check for other things. Emily, Allie, Regine, you guys are up next. Emily and Allie each have 2. Oh, second question. Yeah, go ahead. Write your second question. I'm just checking this while you're doing that. Okay, so then I have KK. I guess you're paying for one. You don't have to. Eva and Swan Song. Quiche times 2. Oh, okay. Quiche's got 2. I'll put you up for 2. All right, let's see. Tiffany's second question. Stress for your hives. I don't feel like it's it may be a detergent or softener, fabric softener, but it really feels like it's sort of led by stress more than anything. Okay, Emily, that's fine if you want to wait till you come up with something. Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is just like stress. So just breathe, relax a little bit. Those babies are coming. There's like a low level. I think just look, maybe I'm wrong. I can always be wrong. So if you've changed a detergent, it doesn't feel like a food thing. If anything, it feels like either a detergent or a fabric softener. But the first thing that came to mind was stress. So I think 2020, and then also trying to have a baby and all of that stuff is stressful, even if it's like a continual low level stress. Allie says, my neck keeps clicking, our bones. No, it's just crepitus. Like mine crack when I do this. It sounds like it's a lot. You're welcome, Tiffany. It's just something that takes time, but normally, like, I even asked my chiropractor about it. I'm like, I crack a lot. Like, it sounds like grit going around it. And he's like, that's normal. So, but it is something that'll take time. And I think it's something that you need to like work on stretching and doing that stuff when you're not with your chiropractor. Do you have another question? It doesn't feel like like literally it does not feel like a bone. It's, first of all, the way your spine is set up. So you have like all these little bones. If a bone was displaced, you wouldn't just have popping, you would have numbness, tingling, pain, electrical shock feelings, because your nerves go all the way through, but then they also have little root ends that come out in between. So if a bone moved, it's going to pinch a nerve. Hi, Isha. Mine click a little bit when I turn. It sounds like gravel. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, but it's not, your bones are in place, I promise, because you would have all these other, this is not psychic. This is the used to be a nurse in me. But follow up with your chiropractor. It's just, it is something that takes time. Some of it mine will be worse if my muscles are tighter, the tighter they are. But keep going to the chiropractor, keep checking with them. If the chiropractor says that it's fine, because you would have, especially depending on where it is, you would have up here I mean, all the way up is going to be your respiratory centers, but as you go down, it's going to be like, your nerves in your fingers and things like that. So keep in mind that you would have in facial nerves and things like that. You would have pain or tingling or numbness or something like that. So it's just, you're just being nervous. But the older you get, the creakier you get sometimes. I mean, you can shift that, right? So I'm not creaky, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me, I guess. I just know that I get tighter here. That's also why I've been having my migraines lately, because I'm just so tight in my traps and my neck. What's your grandma, Amelia? You've never met her. So my question is are you going to be able to validate anything I give you about her? Like, do you know enough, like maybe what she looks like? Have you seen pictures? And do you know how she passed away? Because if you don't know anything about her, it sort of makes it hard, because then I'm playing the telephone game going, well, I have a person here and this is what they're saying happened and this is who they are. I was trying to explain to my husband why it was like, it takes a lot longer to do mediumship. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Why is it harder? I'm like, it's not that I can't, but it's like, I have to make sure I have the right person. So then I'm having to go through asking them, give me some details that you can give them. And so it's a little more back and forth. Okay, you've seen pictures of her, but you don't know how she died. Okay, so we'll see what we get. See if she's kind enough. Have you heard enough stories about her real quick? Just say yes or no. You've heard a lot of stories about her personality. I feel like she was really spiritual, because this is really interesting. I'm getting the energy of somebody who would be like a Native American, or this could also be more indigenous to whatever country that they're from, right? So someone whose religious practice wouldn't follow that of a Judeo-Christian, but somebody whose religious practice would follow more earthy. And I feel like she was sort of a hellraiser in her own right, and sort of a go-getter in her own right, is the feeling I get. And she's Mexican and Catholic. Okay. But I feel like, so if you're Mexican and Catholic, you're going to follow along the lines of being more, there's more of a spiritual, like all the Mexicans I know, even though they're Catholic, they're way more spiritual and way more okay with this stuff than somebody who's like evangelical or Baptist, right? I feel like she liked to drink a little bit. Like, she's showing me having a good time, really enjoying life. Did your family party a lot? And, like, birthdays are a big deal. Was it your birthday recently? Well, she's still at your get-togethers. I feel like she would have been the one who would have been like, just like my husband's friend, he would, I don't really drink very much anymore, but October. He feels like I would say like, "Oh, I'll have a glass of wine," and then he'd pour like a glass of wine. And so it feels like she'd be like, "We'll just put a little more rum in there." Like, and it feels like it's a mixed drink, because it's not like, so not like, I know they don't do coquito and Mexico, but like it's a mixed drink. Like she was a lot of fun. I feel like she just had like this really good energy. She's still around. So I feel like she would have been like, just put a little more in there. This isn't a Mexican nickname that I know, but like it's not, it's like Nana. Nana. I think it's more about it's not like some big revelatory thing. It just feels like she's telling her personality, that she's still very much around the family, that she sees everything. She said you shouldn't be so afraid of life, that you have like the spirit behind you, the wind behind you is the feeling I had, that you shouldn't be so afraid of everything. Oh, I don't know what it is to have any grandpas, but well, I take that back. I had a grandfather. Oh, he was a horse's ass. But like I only had one grandfather, and then and he wasn't he was he loved us. He was a character. But grandmothers were really important, so I'm sorry you didn't know her. You should ask, she says you should ask the stories about me. Does that make sense when she says you shouldn't be so afraid? So I'm gonna leave you with that because she's just I think that was like she sort of kind of took off. Stop worrying about making a mistake. We learn from our mistakes. That's how we grow. We all learn and grow from our mistakes. They're kind of beautiful in a way. I don't regret anything that I've ever done because I've learned from it. It's strange. You don't, you know, all the really wonderful things that can happen to us, stuff that we really learn from is the tough stuff. And it's never, if you think of it as nothing's ever really a mistake, it's just a step in the direction of growth. You're welcome, Allie. Regine, lately I've been feeling so blessed having all my family around, especially around the holidays. Any messages for me in the end and beginning of the year? And then, hang on, I just want to double check for the payment, and then we'll probably. Uh, Y'all, I have an Octonauts song in my head. I don't know if you know the Octonauts, but my almost 4-year-old loves Octonauts. Got Isha on here. All right, so end and beginning of the year. They said to just enjoy yourself at the end of the year because it's really just about it feels like enjoying, kind of relaxing. And they said I think the pace is going to pick up at the beginning of the year. It feels like things are going to start moving again at the beginning of the year. They said cleaning out old stuff and new growth coming in. Oh, I literally keep hearing like dun 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 dun. Ozzy. So she just said to me, this is what I think is funny. I don't know, Regina, if you can validate any of that, but she said to me, she goes, Mom, do you know what a mud skipper is? And I said, it's one of those, it's a little, and she's like, "Ugh, it's a fish." I was like, were you testing me? Yeah, so I think it's things are gonna really pick up for you. So I don't know if you feel like business-wise things have been kind of slow, but it feels like things are gonna really pick up for you in the beginning of the year. So manifest it. You're not waiting. It's here. I have something new and big is already here. I'm so excited about it. Devry, Quiche, Lauren Day, Sonia. No, your life has already started. It's already started. That's how you manifest you, as if it already is. It's already started. Even if you feel like you sound like a crazy person. So Devry, Quiche, Lauren. You're welcome, Regine. Thank you for the kind words, by the way. I really appreciated that. It was really nice to read that. Spirit guide wants me to know for the coming year. He said to really just breathe, to focus on breathing and to relax and allow all of these things that you're working on manifesting. They're like it's just right under the surface and ready to break through. But it's almost like I work on manifesting and then I lose faith and I lose hope in it. And it sort of then like covers it back up again. They're sort of saying like, this is the year to really shift that thought process and that pattern and really stick with it and watch things start to sprout little by little by little. They say sort of like make sure when you're doing the manifesting to sprinkle the little things along the way that will easily manifest so that it gives you faith about the bigger things too. But that's what it really feels like. It's like really focusing on yourself in 2021, really focusing on your own growth, on your own happiness, and finding that within instead of looking outside of yourself all the time. It also feels like shedding some of that heavier energy that you've been carrying, like feeling a little bit lighter. Breathing easier. Okay, so here's where you do it. Ali said, I'm trying to manifest my math smarts. It's painful. Math is easy for me. I can easily solve the problems. I easily see the connections and the patterns. Math is really just patterns. There's just patterns all over the place. That's all math is. So I easily see the patterns. I easily figure out the patterns. It makes sense. There isn't just one way to solve most problems. There's more than one way to solve the problem. So it's just seeing the patterns. I easily see the patterns. That's it. Just not, I'm trying to do it. I can, I am, I already have it. Even if I feel stuck, the solution comes to me quickly. And it's memorization too. Lots of memorization. It makes sense to me. I don't know why. I don't know how. Just always makes sense to me. These are how we shift things. But math is really there's just patterns all over the place. In fact, I was taught one way when I was little, and I'm like helping my 10-year-old with her math, and they're already in 4th grade. They're already doing like algebraic stuff. And I'm like, oh, I wish like I see the patterns differently now. And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have realize this was like so much easier if I would have realized that this was an easier way to do it, or, versus the way I was taught all those years ago. Um, so if you just shift the thought process to being like, oh, it's so difficult, it's so hard, because the more you think that it is that, then it is that, right? Um, I easily figure this out. The solutions come to me easily. I easily see the patterns. It just falls into place. I don't know why. It just makes sense. Okay, so Quiche said general message for the last few weeks of December into January. Can you believe it's already almost 2021? I remember being a little girl and like counting up to figure out how old I would be in 2000. I'm like, I want to be old. Okay. I feel like this is crazy. I've been out of school longer than I ever was in school. That's how old I am, y'all. Okay. Hishay, have you been drinking enough water lately? Because I feel a little dizzy. It's either that or you're not very grounded. After Quiche is Lauren Day, Sonia, and then Rockstar Wife. So the big thing was I just felt the dizziness, and that's why I was asking. And then I felt like it's time for you to get your ducks in a row. That's what this is the organization, the lining it up. This is the last two weeks. The last 2 weeks of 2020 is really starting to like get organized and line things up. And it feels like it's a little like bit of a cluster F at the beginning of the year. Like it feels like a little overwhelming for the first month or so, and then it starts to kind of smooth sailing, smooth sailing, smooth sailing. And this feels all career work oriented. This doesn't feel like personal life. I actually feel like personal life takes a big back seat, that I'm really focused on work. You're actually not drinking enough water. Please drink more water. New opportunity. Okay. So it feels like getting things lined up the last couple of weeks. This is what I'm doing, is getting things lined up. And it just feels a little like overwhelming for January. And then it feels like smooth sailing. So I don't know if that means that you're like, if this new opportunity means like a lot of training or kind of like a lot of information coming at me at once. Cause I feel like it was the feeling of having like things stacked on top of me, like just all around me. And like, I can't really move, but I'm just work through it. And then by February, it's smooth sailing. I haven't been drinking enough. Okay. Drink more water. Your body is 75% water. If it helps, your skin will look younger and less wrinkly. I don't think you're old enough to be wrinkly, but you're welcome. Anxious and ungrounded. So easy way to ground yourself is visualize tree roots coming up, wrapping around your legs, and kind of like pulling you into the earth. The other thing I do with my kids, and I do this before the readings. Well, with my middle child, my oldest isn't. She's like, whatever, mom. But my middle one, I have her visualize, because she sort of has anxiety. Visualize first. I have her visualize giving everything to her guardian angel, all of her worries, put it in a basket, and the guardian angel can take care of it. The other thing I have her do is I have her visualize a column of white light, and I do this before my readings. Column of white light coming from the top of your head to the heavens, moving all the way down through your body slowly, feeling what it would feel like to be relaxed and comfortable. And the light moves out your feet deep down into Mother Earth, where she holds you perfectly balanced between heaven and earth. So that's another way to ground yourself, so that you're still connected, but you're connected into the earth as well. And the second part, you said, yeah, like my meditation video. My 7-year-old is like, "Mom, do you teach people this? Because it's so helpful. I'm so lucky I have you." She's a Pisces. She's just a mush. Okay. Second one is Margaret and her role in stalking my social media. As Margaret. I'm leaning more towards Margaret being more nosy. I don't think it's like stalking. And Roland, no. But Margaret, I feel like is more nosy, but I don't think it's like stalking, like just she's like the nosy neighbor. But I don't feel like it's harmful. Just feel like the gossip, kind of nosy kind of person. You're welcome. Then I've got Lauren, Sonia, rockstar wife. Lauren is any messages for my Aunt Debbie? I've been thinking about her and wishing for some life advice from her. Did she have something wrong with her esophagus? Like, I don't know if it would have been esophageal cancer or something, because I just felt like it was really, it was just weird the way I just felt like, I don't know how to explain this. It was like seeing it shriveled up, like my like dried paper instead of like, yeah, the same videos can always have different meditation experiences. Um, I sort of leave it to that so that you can have different experiences instead of she had cancer. Okay. Was she a smoker? Because I also felt like her voice was really like not mechanical sounding, but really rough sounding. I also feel like she fought really long and hard with it. Like, I don't feel like I got a diagnosis and then like, oh, it's all over. It feels like I really put up a long, long, hard fight for it. Her voice was rough. Okay. Because that's what I like. I could hear a rough voice, like almost like the way a smoker would. Okay. What's weird is, like, she's making me feel like at the very end, she was extremely disconnected from herself. Like, she knew what was going on from here, like, she'd look around the room and she could see stuff, but I feel like I have no connection to my body at this point, like, almost like she said, "It's almost like I choose not to be there," but, like, she sees what's going on around her, but then, like, she's choosing not to pay attention, like, I almost feel like I can't either. I don't know if she literally couldn't move and just basically wasn't, but it's that feeling of, like, I'm literally just here up, like, I don't like, this is nothing anymore. She's got a smart ass sense of humor, and she's like, "I wasn't as wise as she'd like to think that I was." She says, "I would have thrown caution to the wind more," and this is like, did she really like her breasts when she was younger? Because she's like, "I would have shown my boobs off more." Yeah. She said, "Fall in love with yourself more because nobody's gonna love you the way that you could love you." I think that's a pretty big one. It's that feeling of, like, that's, like, what she would have loved herself more had she realized, like, she would have loved herself more, and it's, like, sort of like that's the thing from life is love yourself more. And with that, Sonia, rockstar wife, you guys are up next. And KK and Eva and Isha. What's in store for you in 2021? Focusing on your health, but it feels like a lot of, like, mental health more than, like, physical health, because I feel like physically you're pretty healthy, so it feels like really focusing on, like, a healthier mindset. I don't feel like you're like, have a lot of mental illness, but it's, like, really focusing on your mental health clarity and awareness and all of that, and then I felt like I heard move over, so are you moving? Are you planning a big move? And maybe in October. You're welcome, Lauren. Be moving in with someone? And I said October, so maybe it's not something in the works yet, but it's something coming. This is so weird. I was so hot earlier. Like, I was like, "Oh, I gotta take my sweater off," and now I'm freezing. What do they say? The masculine energy is the heat and the feminine energy is the cold. So it looks like big shifts for you coming. So I do actually feel like a physical move. It doesn't feel far. Like, I don't feel like I'm moving a town or something like that. So they said move over. And I felt like the way it feels like moving in with someone. Do you live alone right now? Your daughter's off to college. She would be off to college in the fall. There might be something, maybe you meet someone and it's a whirlwind. They're not showing me that part of it, but that's the feeling of I'm moving in with someone. And they highlighted October. She's in college. There's something significant about October. I feel like it's gonna be a good year, a lighter year for you. So not like the heavy dregs of, because I felt 2019 feels like it was pretty heavy too. Um, like obviously 2020 is like sucked for everybody, right? But I think 2019 feels like it was kind of heavy and a lot of like shedding of old stuff. And 2020 feels lighter to me. And again, it feels like focusing on like a healthier you. And then there's this move thing that's coming. I can be wrong. I always say that. So take it with a grain of salt. See what happens. But that's sort of the feeling I get. And it doesn't feel like in the beginning of the year. It feels like towards, fall, third quarter of the year. Okay. Rockstar wife. Yeah, for sure. It could be the mental. It feels like a really good, like, it feels good. It doesn't feel like like, when some people when you go through that spiritual awakening, it can be really heavy. The people call it like the dark night of the soul. That's like so dramatic. But maybe, um, but it doesn't feel heavy. It feels like I'm on the up end of it, like going like where things just start to click and move. And I'm just like awakenings are happening for me. And that's like the good stuff, right? When the awakenings happen, that's like the good stuff. At least in my mind it is, but maybe everything is perspective and maybe I get too excited about things that other people are like, oh, this is terrible. And I'm like, this is amazing. What do your financials look like in 2021? You said rough start to the beginning of the year, picking up in March, settling out in June. And then like it feels smooth. So it doesn't feel like, so it feels like kind of rough and bumpy the first part of the year through March and then starting to pick up a little bit. And it feels like um it's the sound of like gears starting to grind and move when they're not quite well oiled yet. And then by June, I'm picking up and I've leveled off and I'm doing okay. Are you a designer or a decorator or something? Because I just keep seeing like textiles around you. You're welcome. Does that make sense? That like I keep seeing like a decorators, like pillows and pretty things. That might be on the horizon for you then. KK, Eva, and Isha. Devry I did Devry's question. I'm just checking in with PayPal. Make sure we close the list because it's late. So last person is going to be Marlene. So another announcement for any of you here, if you haven't, subscribe, like, do all of that stuff. But if you go over to my website and you register on my website to be a part of my mailing list, and basically all I ever mail out is like, I'm going to be on here. You can sign up early or whatever, what's going on. And then as a reminder that I'm doing this. And then if I'm ever on a podcast or something like that. But I take all of my subscribers that are on my email list and I do a drawing every month and I pick a free 30-minute, somebody gets a free 30-minute reading. And last month's never claimed it. So I don't even think she opened the email, but tis what it is. I do put a time limit on when you can claim it. It's usually like a week or so. But I'm going to draw for 2 this month since nobody claimed it for last month. So if you're not registered, you should head on over to my website, www.myspiritualfriend.com. Okay, Kate, what do you see happening? feel like are you looking for apartments? Because it feels like movement by March. Are you moving? Because they said big movement, and I feel like it's by March. I know I keep saying March, but this is what it feels like to me. I'm moving by March. I also feel like, either a promotion or a pay raise or something, because I feel like I'm moving up, I'm growing. Is there an opportunity for growth for you? Because that's what I feel like. I feel like that's happening this year too. And this feels like in the first all of this feels like kind of in the first half of the year. And it's interesting because 'cause they're sort of darkening out the second half of the year, so and I don't feel like that's because it's bad. I just feel like it's like you're not supposed to know yet the change is coming for you, and it feels like good stuff, but that you're supposed to sort of it's like growing in your own and working on your manifesting and stuff and sort of trusting that instead of, like, watching all of that growth happen, and then that'll blossom and open up and kinda be more obvious what's going on the second half of the year. So I feel like you get it's either a promotion or a big pay raise, something like that, where it's like I'm more responsibility growing, moving up. Second half maybe about love. Um, then that would be what it is. If you know that and you know what that is, then that's what they're doing. Um, I actually feel like I don't feel like love in the first half is really that heavy focused. It doesn't mean I'm not dating or anything. It just feels like I don't really fully have time to give myself to it. But I'm working on my own personal growth and like sort of focusing on my career. Um, you might be getting some certifications or something too. And I feel like work pays for it. So it's not anything that you're doing on your own. It feels like it's like encouraged through that. That's what I feel. Isha, and then so wait, hang on, that's KK. Let's see. I have you're waiting on some paperwork. Okay. Eva, Isha, and Marlene. Isha, I've got you. I want to know how Akshay feels for me. I know he wanted to reach out to him. He wanted me. I don't feel like I'm not being pulled to that as being the case. I feel like he's sort of they are literally saying that ship has sailed. Um, I keep feeling like he's really kind of about himself, leaning towards narcissistic, and they said you can do better. Um, they said once you sort of decide to be done with that, that's when someone new comes in. What are you? I know. Okay. Oh, Eva, that's a great question. Okay. So I've got Eva and Marlene are last, but definitely not least. Oh, and Emily. Okay. Okay. So I forgot about you, Emily. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm writing you down here so I don't forget you. Okay. Let's see. So Eva, Marlene, please write your question if you're here. Are you here? Are you here? Horton, here's a who. We are here. We are here. Okay. All right. Sorry, Eva. Okay. What am I unaware of about myself that I need to be more aware of? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So the first thing I heard was blind spots. And they said she's headstrong and driven, but sometimes she misses the obvious. Sometimes she misses the softer side of things, like the way they're showing to me, it's like if someone is very type A, right? So I see all of the hard lines, like they're showing me like wood. I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm seeing the outline. This is what I have to do. This is what has to be done, but I'm missing the human aspect of it, the softer side of it, the emotional side of it, that the obvious part that's there, and I'm sort of missing it because I'm so focused on things being this way. Hi, hey, hey. I will ask in just a minute. Eva, does this resonate at all? Like the way this feels, if I had to guess, I would say you're more of an earth sign, right? And you lean towards the earth part of you, maybe being a Capricorn, and you see things a certain way. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's just like I mean, you asked what you're missing, and they're sort of saying like leaning more into your intuitive side, leaning more instead of your logical thinking side, leaning more into your intuitive side. And it isn't to say that you're not trying, because obviously you're here, right? So then you're working on that. But they're saying like in your instinctual every day-to-day life thing, when I'm focusing on work or focusing even on personal life, that I need to lean more into my intuitive, softer side versus my logical. Okay. So it's not even necessarily like that you have to like then like pull the so she said, and I'm saying this because somebody told me once that I should repeat what people are writing because sometimes it's hard for them to see. She said, yes, exactly. I've been totally mental for 3 years, but I'm naturally very emotional before. It's like my emotions don't go into play in my decisions. Definitely resonates. Okay. So you don't have to swing the pendulum back 180 degrees then. It's sort of like finding balance, right? So I always often will talk about finding balance. It's not about, like you can't always be super, super spiritual and not like in this world we're supposed to experience as human beings. You have to find balance and kind of find it in both worlds. Anything, too much of anything is a good thing. Too much exercise is not good for you. Too much like strict, crazy, healthy eating is really actually pretty unhealthy for you. Like it's okay to like relax a little bit. You find balance. So they're sort of saying like, don't ignore that emotional, intuitive side of yourself. Bring that back in. You're very fire and air, but I think I've been trying to super be okay. That's fine as long as it was just when I get stuff, sometimes I get stuff where it's like they show me things and then it's a feeling and then I have to put words to what those feelings are. And so it's like if I had to say, it would be like being a Capricorn, being very logical. And it's just to get me to those terms. Um, Sometimes I have to ramble through it to get to what I want to say, like the logical, very, which is exactly what you were saying. Um, think the biggest learning lesson because I have a lot of water in my chart. um, the biggest like thing for me was to learn that like 99% of stuff is just not about you. And so then you could sort of look at things a little bit more objectively, but without missing the human connection and emotional connection to it. Like, oh, that's not really about me. Okay, so what's going on? Like, oh, well, they probably have blah blah blah. And you look at the and so it like sort of then offers a softening and a little bit different perspective and um empathy for the other person that's like struggling through their stuff. So I will leave you with that. I've got Hey Hey and Emily are last. So Emily wants to know about 2021 and then any validation on her guide. Has your ear been bothering you? Your left ear? Popping, cracking, anything like that? Ringing? Do you also get like a pressure right here when you're going into meditations or when you feel like, because it feels like if you start to feel pressure here, it might just be your third eye opening up. I just felt this like very centered pressure right here. And your pituitary sits right behind your eyes in the sella turcica. And they say the pituitary is the connection to that's your third eye. That could also be, I don't know a lot about astrology, like my good friend Tony. I always say it's like I look like I feel like I'm trying to read something in Russian. And I joke that it's just way easier to be psychic. So like I always ask about it and there are things that I pick up and glean from things, but um like whenever I see like the 800-year star thing, I texted him right away. The first I saw it, and I was like, all right, what? And he's like, no, 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 no. They've been together like every 20 years, they're together. He's like, this is just the closest it's been in 800 years and the first time in Aquarius. So that's what makes it special. So maybe there was something in your chart like 3 years ago that shifted, like, I don't know, like they had the Saturn return and all of that are every 30 years. So it could have been that sort of shifted you, or something moved into something and created that. But you can find balance in it. Sorry for yawning, ladies and gentlemen. Um, all right, I'm working with you. Sorry, Emily. So I don't feel any big shifts in family life or any like it feels like status quo. I feel like doing okay financially for a little while, and then back to work maybe June. Um, are you thinking of another baby? Because that may be on the horizon for you too in this coming year. And your guide isn't telling me a lot. I keep seeing like a staff or a stick or something like that. This is like weird. That's like what I keep seeing is like holding something like it's ground up, and I can't tell if it has something on top or not. It doesn't feel like a weapon. It just feels like, I don't know. Does any of this make sense? You're welcome, Eva. Maybe second half of the year. Um, sorry. Excuse me. Um, it feels like the way I feel like it feels like feel leaning towards it being a male energy for your guide. And I also feel like wanting to connect with you a few more times on your own before really making like sort of as building your own trust in your own intuition. I'm getting all tuckered out. Maybe that means I'll sleep well tonight. Oh, please let me sleep well tonight. Okay, hey. Yeah, I don't know why, and maybe even something I just have to, like, think about and see if he'll connect. Did you feel like it was a male? Hey, question is my grandma's sister Ramona, who passed away 3 months ago, have any messages for me? Okay, Ramona. Um, I get the feeling that she was pretty sick when she passed. So if you can validate any of this stuff and then I'll talk about it. She's feels very quiet, very distant, and I feel like someone is sort of speaking for her instead of herself, and it's the feeling of still working on doing some healing. I don't feel like she was the most spiritual person in life. Um, and sometimes it takes a while for them to kind of come through. She was very sick when she passed. Yeah. Um, and it feels sudden to me. It doesn't feel like I don't know if it was COVID or not, but it feels that sudden to me where it's like I felt okay and then I was not okay. She was in a wheelchair most of her life. Did she fall and hit her head here? Something here. I felt this too. Like she's making me feel pressure here. Yeah, well, I see her in a bed. Dark hair is the feeling I get. So if she had gray hair at the end, would she have had dark hair when she was had color to her hair? And when I say this, when I don't feel her coming through strongly, it doesn't mean she hasn't crossed over. It is, but there's this like holding, waiting period where they're sort of doing healing on the other side and like acclimating and sort of reviewing, going through stuff. Yeah, dark hair. Okay. Um, going through stuff. So it isn't that they're not on the other side or safe or fine or okay, but it's like respite, like kind of getting through the rough that it took them to get there. And again, when people are less spiritual in life, At least my experiences. Now, other mediums may experience it completely different, and this could just be the way that they're communicating it to me to understand this, that it's not as easy for them to speak, like, to reverse and speak back here. You can be religious all you want, you may not be very spiritual. So, my grandmother, both my grandmothers, very Catholic. One of my grandmothers was much more spiritual. The day she died, I felt her with me, felt her hand on my shoulder. Um, my other grandmother went to church like crazy at the end, especially. And I had to tell her that she was going to be okay and that God was going to love her and accept her and receive her. And it didn't matter what happened in life. And I was the last person to have a full conversation with her, and she slipped into a coma and then passed away shortly thereafter. So, you can go to church and be religious and follow the biblical law, but if there is a difference between being spiritual and faithful versus religious and dogmatic. Yeah. So, it just felt that's the feeling I get when they show me somebody who can't really, like, I feel like someone's talking on her behalf. Did she have an older sister that went ahead of her? And she feels taller. Whoever the woman is that's with her feels taller, would have been a taller, thin woman. Maybe 5'8"? Her mom, okay. Did she always dress really nice? Because I feel like she's wearing heels and a skirt and pantyhose. I feel like her mom would have been more spiritual, and she's the one who's sort of telling me about this. She was with her at the end, and I don't know if anybody can validate this, but your grandmother saw her. So I don't know if they can validate by saying she mentioned seeing her mom or something like that, but her mother was with her, taking care of her. And she helped her cross over, and she's still taking care of her now. So this would be your great grandmother actually was spiritually gifted. Because I feel like she would have had dreams that came true, and she would have known when people were going to have babies and people were going to pass. There was just something she knew. It wasn't that she did readings or anything like that. She just had that something. So wait, I forget who I'm talking to about. Your grandma's sister, Ramona. Okay, no. So your great grandmother, yes. Okay, so your great grandmother, this is your grandmother's sister, Ramona. Okay, so sorry, I'm confusing this. I was thinking this was your grandmother that passed away. So was her mother, their mother was there receiving her, and was their mother, was she the one who dressed in heels and would have dressed nice, like always, always nice? Hair looks like a helmet. Dressed nice and skirt, pantyhose, heels, always put together. She would have been the spiritual one. She would have been the one who came through. You said, like, you to your great grandmother. Okay, so she was a spiritual one. So that's just all validation. So let your grandmother know that her sister is safe. She's fine. She's just sort of in a resting, healing period. I do feel like she'll visit her in her dreams, but for maybe in like 3 months' time. It'll take a little bit longer. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your support. I will add up the money and figure out how much we're donating to, looks like, hang on. I think $130 tonight. I want to recheck the math on it and go through the PayPal to make sure, but that's a lot of money. So thank you. You guys have a great week. Oh, tomorrow, if you're a manifester, tomorrow's a great day for manifesting. So get to your scribbling and your visualizing and your scripting or your however you do it. You guys have a wonderful week. Dan, thank you for your donation. Please check out his channel, Spiritually Out of the Closet. He is a really great guy. And if any of you guys have your own channels and you want us to check them out, share away. There is no such thing as competition. That is a false thing. Y'all have a great week. Check out if you aren't on my email list, go on my email list and I'll do a drawing and subscribe and share with your friends and all of that good stuff. Have a good one.